Welcome to Beyond the Home Study. This is a podcast for parents, especially those who have children through or are exploring foster care and adoption. So, we are here to help you navigate the world beyond paperwork and placement. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Home Study. We are here, just Laura and me, to chat with you today. Hi, Laura.
Hi, I almost lost my tea bag there.
That was a
Oops.
close one.
I know. How's it going? We're meeting on a Sunday. I like when we meet on different days. Kind of
I know.
shakes it up a little bit.
It does shake it up a little bit. Good. We had a very full weekend. So I feel like, a little like a train hit me, but making it. So ready
All
to
right.
kind of have a little reset. I like Mondays to be like kind of a reset day anyways, because Sunday is always busy. So,
Yeah.
which life of pastor and family is just Sunday is not like the most relaxing day, which is fine. But Monday's kind of like a start over reset day, so looking forward to that tomorrow.
Yeah. You definitely, it's definitely weird when you're in the church staff realm
Yeah.
or whatever. Well, if you are listening to this today, let me tell you what we're going to talk about as we continue to chit chat a little bit. So, we're going to talk about community, and that can look a lot of different ways. So, we are going to talk about types of community. We're going to talk a little bit about some barriers and challenges. So, we'll share just some things that we have found challenging when it comes to trying to find a community. And we're going to talk about this too in both, adoption, but also if you haven't adopted or haven't done foster care, like this will still apply to you. And then last week we're going to talk about how to build your village. So we'll give you some tips and tricks on what has worked for us, maybe some things that haven't. We'll just kind of see where the conversation goes, but that is where we're headed today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a good episode for, obviously for our foster care and adoptive parents and families, but also if you are listening to this and you just, found our podcast because of kind of the parenting aspect of it or because you know us or whatever it might be, I feel like this is still a good episode to just kind of like do a little check-in, like, how's this going? What do I think about my community? You know, Am I looking for more community,
Yeah.
less, all that?
Well, and I mean, I didn't even mention that this would be something we talk about, but why is it even important?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Why do we need community? And, I can tell you right now, I'm a little more of the off the beaten path, buck the community. I don't need anybody type of person. Um, and I can tell you that's not true. And but I think some of that comes from the idea of what community has always been shown to me has to look like. And the more that I have learned no, no, no. There's more than one type of community. It doesn't all have to look the same way. That has helped me to come back to this okay, it is actually really important to have community. And especially as I deal with things that are specific to my child being adopted, you know, I even find that I need a little bit more. And so, yeah.
Has that been something that you have experienced kind of, like, throughout parenthood, for your whole life of that, like, I might not need community"?
Um, no, I think I used to I was one of the girls in high school that had, the really, really close friends that we were all kind of, just stuck like glue, and it was, not a healthy situation. We were, codependent on each other.
Yeah.
And so that kinda carried with me, so I was kind of the opposite, and you know how, the pendulum swings, you know? So I went from being, super glued to, having, really tight community, then a lot of community, and then some things happened, and then, it was messy, and then it was "You know what? I don't need this. I don't need any of this. I'm good."
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, "Okay, I've got my husband and my kids, like, we're good to go."
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, I wondered because I do like, I'm sure studies and things will come out over the years as time goes on, but I do wonder about, like, what 2020 did to all of us, where, like, we were I mean, obviously, depending on, like, what your job was or if you worked or if you had kids or, like, all those different things, like, it depends on what your situation really like, how it all played out for you, but I know for me, it was like, "Oh, like, I actually like being at home. I like cooking a lot of my own meals. I like working from home, like, I had never worked from home before. Um, I really like working out at home, like, all these different things that, being forced to be at home, like, kinda did for me. And so I just kinda wondered, like, did that feed into any of your new ideals or not? But I feel
I
like
mean, like, I'm sure it helped, like,
yeah.
definitely. Also, I married a homebody, and he has
Oh,
totally
yeah.
rubbed off on me.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
an
think, like,
interesting
it's been
thing
a
too.
combination of things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting too, like, how your yeah, how your spouse and maybe even, like, as you have kids, like, do they gravitate more towards being at home or being away? Interesting.
Well, and, yes, and that has played into, like, the whole, the way that I feel about the way that I feel about parenting with my kids has dictated a little bit of my community. The way that I feel about, like, forcing my kids to go be in situations where they're not comfortable, where I thought before I had kids, like, "Oh, that'd be no problem." I didn't, like, have a category for, like, well, my kid may not like that. So there's been a lot of different things at play that has, like, made me rethink what makes community, like, what is a community? And then, like, also finding the value in it. So, like, I'll ask you, we actually so if you're listening to this, we did not discuss this part, like, offline. So I'm curious, what is your definition of community, Abby?
Ooh, that's good. I was actually just thinking, "Oh, I should look up what the definition is." But, okay, for me, myself, my definition of community,
I'm putting you on the spot,
um,
so you can take a minute.
okay, this will be like a jumbled kind of work in progress, but it is my community really is the people or are the people around me, whether physically or digitally, okay? Like, close to me or,
Okay.
like, I'm in touch with over the phone, um, who support me in, like in various ways, like, not necessarily just in one way. So, this is, like, the most jumbled,
It's okay,
definition.
we'll get there. We'll put it
Yeah,
all
I
together
know,
and make a
clean it all up.
definition.
But yeah, but, like, I think of community is, people who know me and who know what my situation, my circumstance, whatever's going on, and are also meeting a need. So, like, they know and they meet a need. Whether it's and we can kind of I'm kinda cheating a little bit because we've already, like, looked a little bit at types of community and what we're going to talk
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
but I think of, like, the physical needs and then also the more, like, emotional needs of which the emotional needs are the ones that I think are a little bit easier to meet if you are not close by. Like, I think of friends I have from college that I'm still in touch with that are a text away. To me, they're my community, but they're not able to, like, bring me, medicine when my kid is sick, like that kinda thing.
So to you, it has to be close to you, which can mean a variety of things,
Yep.
and meet a need.
Yeah,
To you, that's community.
have a sense of knowledge, like, knowing what's going on. So
Okay, so that's interesting because, like, you could be listening to that definition and, like, assuming all these things, but, like, what I'm thinking could still fit within that definition are, like, one of the needs they could be meeting would be, like, social needs.
true.
'Cause you
Mhm.
didn't mention that, like, what about social needs? Like, that's super important, and then also, like, you're saying, like, they need to know about you, but, like, do they have to know all excuse me, do they have to know all parts of you, or can they just know a piece of you? Because I think that is where I got super stuck. Like, to
Hmm.
me, because I had this, like, super close group of girls back in high school, to me, community had to be someone that knew everything about you, every facet of your life, and not only was that suffocating to me and to my friends, like, really, but it was, like, unrealistic, and I'm learning now that, like, different pieces of me are known by different groups of people, and
Yes.
probably the only person that knows all of me as best as you could would be my husband. Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Home Study. If you've been enjoying the show, we'd love it if you could take a quick moment to leave a 5-star review and share this episode with a friend. These are the best ways to help more families find these conversations and join our community.
Yeah. I think that's a great point because, like, okay, we'll just kind of jump in. So, one of my types of community personally is my church. And like that is a place that like yes, people know me. Um we do meet each other's needs. Like there's also that kind of mutual you know, benefit going on like in different groups in the church. But like we just moved to this new area about a year ago. We moved here, we moved into a new house. We flew out to California to adopt these twins. So, like not a whole lot of time to like build up to here's my whole life story, here's how these twins even came about, here's their story, um, here's all the things I need. Like it wasn't like that. But as soon as we got home, there were meals coming, there were diapers being dropped off, there were clothes being, like all of those things. So they knew a part of our story, but they didn't know, think back like all the years of like what led up to that. Um, so I guess that's kind of an example of like a trusted group of people who like absolutely see and believe are my community, and they know parts, but I don't know everything because I've only known a lot of them for a year.
Yeah. I think for a long time I thought that I also am a Christian, and so I thought that like my community had to be this one cookie cutter community, like the community that would bring the meals, the community that shared the exact same beliefs as me. And now like as I think through support, like who has helped to meet my needs, I'm realizing that like I do have Christian community. I have friends from church that don't know me all that well, but are always like happy to help, bring a meal like when, I was pregnant or something like that. Um, and then there are other people that are Christians that maybe we don't even go to the same church that know me like more on a spiritual level because I talk to them more. But then I have other friends that we don't have the same religious beliefs. We don't have the same political beliefs, but like they're still part of my community. Like they still support me, in different ways. They also like, meet other needs too. So I think that has been like important for me to realize that like types of community can look really different. And then you even mentioned digital. Like what about online communities, people we've never even met, that can, like, still be a support system for us, like, that's okay too.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I mean, especially walking through adoption and for me walking through embryo adoption, I was very thankful to have a couple people at that time in my life that I knew that were actually close like proximity to me who had walked through e- the same experience. But there's so much that was unknown. So I turned to online communities, people that I would find on Instagram or through, Facebook groups or different things to like, I wanted to follow their journeys and kind of see, okay, how did this work for you? What was it like? Am I experiencing the same things they are? Is there something completely different? Like all of that. And so, yeah, especially I think in these like really specific parts of foster care and adoption, if you're not finding people who are close to you in proximity who have gone through those things or maybe have, you know, even just the understanding to have a conversation with you, there are certainly people online who do. And I think maybe in one sense, it's like you could look at it as like lesser community for whatever reason, but I really don't think we should. I think that the online digital space is that's like the benefit of social media. Like there's so many downsides of social media, but I think that's one of the benefits is like connecting with people who are walking a very similar road to you.
Well, and then you think about, like, the younger generation, like, my nephew is 20, he might be 22 now, and he lived with us for a couple like, 6 months, he like, his friends, like, his legit friends, for the longest time, he never met because they were
Wow.
his online gaming community. And I'll be honest, like, I totally scoffed at that at first. Like, they're not really your friends. You don't even know them. They could be, messing with you, blah, blah. And, like, he has since, like, met them and gone on, like, cruises with them because they don't live in the same state as him and stuff. So, and I was, like, really humbled to be like, "Wow, no, they like, that is a type of community. That is his community, and he found them online through a mutual interest," just like we would find a foster care support group or an adoption support group, and or even, like, Instagram. How many like, this sounds silly, but, like, how many influencers do you see that, like, meet other influencers? Because they're such a niche
Yeah.
group, they probably, like, don't have a lot of friends that, like, understand what they go through.
Yeah, it's so true. I wonder, okay, this is like kind of it's off topic for what we were saying we were going to talk about, but it flows from what we were just saying. As your kids grow older, what do you think that will look like for them? Like, will you say, like, yes, these, like, your gaming community can be your friends? Will you say, like, no, I want you to have, like, people actually come over? Like, I don't know. Like, what does it look like in our future?
I mean, I think that, like, if I've learned anything, it's, like, we can't do the same mistakes like our parents did and be dogmatic about, like, the world has changed. You have to
Yeah.
roll with it. Like, yeah, be safe. Like, I'm not saying just, like, let your kid but go by themselves. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, there
Yeah.
are safety things you can put in place, but, like, don't throw out something that could be really good. So, yeah, like, why not? Why can't they be their friends?
Mhm.
Like, let's not downplay that, let's not belittle that. And plus, like, remember when we had Anna Bernacki on and so if you didn't listen to that episode, Anna Bernacki is an adoptee, well, and an adoptive mom. And she talked about, um there weren't I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, there weren't a lot of or maybe any other adoptees in her, like, area, like, where she
Yes.
lived,
Mhm. That's
but
right.
as she became an adult, or maybe she was in high school, I'm not sure, she found other adoptees, I'm pretty sure online, like, in a community, and they really helped her, just with her journey, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, if we're gonna, like, allow that for her, but not for our kids, like, they may need that too.
Yeah, that's so true. I didn't even think about it from that standpoint of, like, yes, we're walking through a very unique, circumstance as adoptive moms, but our kids as adoptees, like, they're walking through just as, if not more of a unique situation. And yeah, that'll be really interesting to navigate that. Wow.
Yeah. What
My
if they don't have
mind
any other friends that are adopted and they're
right.
like, they need to seek that out elsewhere, like on an online community? Like, are we really gonna deny them that?
Yeah. Wow. My mind
I
is a
know,
little
it's crazy
blown.
to think through. I'm trying to think if there's, like, any other types of communities that, like, we haven't mentioned.
Um,
I mean, there's, like, I think you could subsection it, like gym community, like hobbies, like my
yeah.
sewing club or something,
Yeah.
But I think, like, I don't know, is there anything else?
I think the only other type, like I think of like who your support system is a little bit. That's like another word we could probably use. I think of maybe like counselors or therapists or things like that.
Yeah.
Like so more of that emotional
Or, like,
support
professional.
and maybe more professional. Yeah. I think like absolutely that can be part of your community. Even if it's not like someone that you go hang out with for fun, like, they're supporting you, they are meeting a need, if that's how we wanna define it, that's surely what they're doing.
Yeah, and then, like, your family too. I mean, not
Yeah,
obviously,
true.
like, that's not true for every person, um, but it can be, like, your family could be your community, your support system. I mean, I hope they are, at least some form
Yeah, for
of
sure.
support. Yeah. Okay, well,
Yeah,
if you
that's good.
guys, have any extra things that you're thinking of that we missed, feel free to send an email, let us know. But let's move into, like, some barriers and challenges. So, like, what are some things that like, in any of those communities, whether it's, like, online, in person, they know all of you, they know parts of you, like, what are some things that you think make it difficult to either find community or be a part of a community?
Well, unfortunately, the first one that comes to my mind is our children. They can be a barrier and a
What?
challenge. Oh,
You're the
man.
reason I need community, and you're the reason I can't get it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, getting to where I needed to go this morning, I was, like, I don't know, 10 minutes late, later than I wanted to be, right? Like, I wasn't actually late, but later than I wanted to be, and I was kind of joking and saying, like, I get a 5-minute grace period per child. 'Cause, like, that's what I need, like, all those I mean, I think about how many times and
Uh-huh.
we've talked about it before, like, you get out to the car, you load your stuff into the car, and it's, like, that one other thing you need to go inside to get, or someone needs their diaper changed right at that moment, like, all those different things. So, yeah, like, getting anywhere on time is a challenge, and that can be a challenge for community because I think of, like, I would love to be part of, like, a class at the gym where I could meet other people and, like, work out all together, and I'm like, I that is so stressful for me to try to do that. I'm not gonna do it. Like, that's a huge barrier right now. So,
Yeah, like, well, and I feel like the kid even, like, our kids as a barrier is, like, divided into sections because there's, like, the
yeah.
time aspect, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But there's also, like, the temperaments, like, I kind
Yep.
of mentioned this earlier, but, like, this isn't something I really thought of, before having kids, but sometimes you think, like, you may be single. I this is me, okay? As a single person, I'm like, "Oh, just take your kid with you, like, it'll be fine." And you're thinking, like, it's all about the parents. Like, when you're having that, like, in your mind, you're like, "Oh, like, don't worry, parent. You don't need to worry about the mess or the whatever, like the bedtime, like it's fine, but like you're not thinking about how it affects the child. And so for like a super extroverted child, that may be fine. But for, a child with, maybe some sensory issues or a child who's introverted or has attachment, sensitivities or anything like that, like that may not be feasible. Or it may be feasible, but it may be like too much pressure or whatever. So like there's, like, subcategories under.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually thought about this last week with so I mean, truly, honestly, my preference is if we're gonna go out, if we're going to, like, meet up with people, do anything, it's, like, before 12 p.m., like, before noon. That's, like, goal is, like, be out in the morning, and then if we're home in the afternoon, it just goes better for all of us. Like,
Sure.
we can get
Yeah.
naps, we can get dinner ready, blah, 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 whatever. And I was thinking about it from kind of that sensory perspective when you had talked on one of the previous episodes about the thresholds that we all have and how like any anything that's in the evening, like whether it's right now we're in a sport Judah is in a sports class or it's a church service at night or it's a dinner with friends or whatever it is, like so much of that threshold has already been met throughout the day that you get to the evening and it's like there's nothing left. Like it's just
Wait, for
going to
you or for
explode.
your kids?
Actually, probably both, but I was specifically thinking I was thinking about Judah. But yeah, I think for me sometimes too it can be because that's a huge I mean, truly, I think that's a big barrier is like the time of day. Because that threat like we've hit the max.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just talking to my sister about this a little bit earlier today because they live in Florida and they have, like, passes to go to, like, Disney, Epcot, like, all that stuff, and it's like the zoo for them, right? Like, they could go for a
Yeah.
couple hours and
Oh.
leave. And we were talking about it because she was talking about, like, sensory, thresholds with her kids and how, like, they like, sometimes you just have to leave because Disney has a lot of input and anyway, and so, yeah, like, that kinda if you're going to meet up with another mom at the zoo, like, it just yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is. What are some, like, barriers or challenges that you've seen for yourself
Um,
with your family?
I think this one, someone may disagree with this, but for me, like, parenting styles can be a barrier for me. I'm pretty particular, and not that I think that everybody I hang out with needs to be the exact same as me, I don't, but I don't wanna spend extended amount of time with people that are vastly different than me when it comes to parenting at this young age. I think if my kids were a little bit older and there was, like, more cognitive ability to talk about things, I'll feel different, but at this really young, impressionable age, like, there's just a limit to how much I want them to be around someone that parents like, really different. Um and that's can be, like, kind of isolating sometimes, if you, like, haven't found your people.
Yeah, I think that's a big one that is hard to talk about because you don't wanna be the one who's like, "I'm doing it all right, you're doing it all wrong." 'Cause it's not even necessarily, like, a right and wrong all of the time, like,
Right.
morally, it's, "This is what works for my family, it's not what works for your family."
Right, like, okay, just practically for someone who wants something, like, super practical, like, let's take TV, okay? That's, like, a super easy one. You know, if I, like, have a this is, like, a made up scenario, so if you think I'm talking about you, I'm not. Um, like, if I have a friend that has an autistic child and they need a lot of screen time, because that's a thing with some autistic children, um that's fine. Like, there's no judgment there for that parent. Like, that's what works for them. That's what their child needs for whatever reason. But that may not be something that I want my children around all the time because I have one child that it's particularly sensitive to screen time. Like, my other child isn't, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but one of my children is. And so I try to limit how often we're around extended screen time for that reason, and so it's not a judgment on that friend that made up friends, like, parenting style, it just doesn't
Yeah.
work for me and my family.
Yeah, I think that's so good. I think that's a really practical example, even if it is made up. I think it's a very practical example too.
So, like,
Yeah,
these things go with, like, all kinds of things, like, you can fill in the blank, like food, exercise, discipline, like, there's all kinds of different things that you may say, like, that totally works for your family, but, like, I have a child that doesn't respond well to that or whatever. So I think that's like a pretty significant barrier that I see currently.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how we actually create community, build community. I don't like however you want to say it. It's kind of like a weird um even both of those. It's like, okay, what are we actually doing here?
How do I
Are we
find my people?
Yeah, really it is. It's how do you find your people? I think like kind of as we
Yeah.
opened talking about this, we talked a little bit about it of like, you can have digital, like where you're kind of searching for like a very specific, like, I want to talk to someone about XYZ. But I don't know, what else have you found? Like, I know you've got hobbies, I know you've got people around you. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, like, currently, I have pockets, and I think that it has both been helpful for me to recognize those pockets of people as my community, but I will say, I do wanna throw this out there for anyone that feels the same way I do. There is a part of me that's craving, and maybe this is, like, unrealistic, but there is a part of me that's craving, like, that one best friend that just gets you, you know? And, like, I've had them. Like, I've had friends in different seasons of my life where I just feel like you just understand, not that we're the same, but just, like, you get me, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yep,
that, like,
yep.
ride or die girl that, like, and I do miss that. I don't have that right now, and yeah, and so right now, I'm currently trying to just be okay and, like, happy and content with having pockets of people, like, these people are my climbing people, and I we share a lot of the same interests and they're fun and we do all these things and most of them don't have kids and so time that barrier is like a lot better, because I'm the one with that barrier, but they are usually like game to go whatever. Um and then, like I said, I'm in Bible study and I've got, my group of people there that we talk about on a more deeper level and a spiritual level. You know, um, and then I have like friends that I've known for years that maybe I don't talk to all the time, but like they know past me. Those are kind of like
Yeah.
my pockets.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I just thought of this and I wonder if you would agree with it because I'm kind of like reflecting on both your story a little bit and then my experience too. I'm thinking like at any given time of your life, you're in like one of three seasons of community. You're either looking for community, you're building community, which means like you've kind of found those people, but you're like still getting to know
Stoking the
them.
fire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you've got like the maintaining of community where it's like you've hit that point of like, okay, they know me, I know them, and now we're like not coasting, but kind of in like, let's just maintain what we have. Like we're not looking for more. Do you think that's
But
true?
where does your ride or die go in that? Because I feel like that's different.
Maybe that's separate. Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, maybe it's the same. I don't know. I like the concept. I'm like thinking through all my pockets and I'm like, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like for sure. But I am like, what okay, back up just a minute and like what are
Huh?
your thoughts on the like the ride or die girl? Like,
I think it's like aspirational, but not super practical. Okay, like here's my example. So, and I know that she listens to the podcast, so I don't think she'll mind me saying this. Um, so I have a friend, Melissa. We have known each other since we were like 6 months, a year old, right? Like, our parents worked together, we, like, grew up in the Y, we did swim class, gym class. We're always at each other's houses constantly, right? Like, up until I was 12, we moved away, and then when I came back, we reconnected, we worked together again, but we didn't have a lot of time. I came back and lived in this area for 1 year, and then I went off to college, she went off to college, kind of, like, stayed in touch, texting and, like, on Instagram, whatever. But then, I moved back. She has 3 boys. Now I have these 3 kids. So, like, we have these goals of being like, "I'm gonna just text you on the night that, like, when I put my kids down early, we'll just go to Goodwill together. We'll go to Costco. We'll do whatever." Okay. In this last year, we have probably scheduled, quote, unquote, to do that 20 times. I don't know, like, said we wanna do that 20 times. We've actually done that twice. 2 times. Because life, like, it's just and we've done other things together, we've gotten our families together, tried to, like, do things during the day, whatever. But it's like, yeah, I know that if I needed something, she's there at the drop of a hat. I'm the same for her. But, like, actually, like, making it happen is hard because of
yeah.
the way our lives are. Um, so I don't like I
Okay,
would
I wanna hear
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanna hear from, like, our listeners on this
Yeah,
one.
for
So if you
sure.
like, listen up because I'm thinking through, like, what you're talking about and then, like, other so in my lifetime, I've probably had, like, I don't know, 3, 4 of these relationships where we are just, like, super close, whatever, but none of them have been when both me and the other person had children.
Yep.
And so I wanna know if, seriously, send us a DM on Instagram, send us an email, something. I wanna know if you are a mom, like, and you have this relationship, like this BFF that also has kids, and how does that work for you all? That's what I wanna know.
I think
Because
and
I agree with you,
yeah.
I'm thinking about these relationships, and I'm like, I feel like they worked because I didn't have kids, these people did, and I was able to just, like, be at their house all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what listeners have to say because I do think I do think it's possible, like, of course, and I think, like, my friend Melissa and I are in a really unique situation because we have all 3 of like, 3 of her kids, 3 of my kids, all are under the age of 5. So we're, like, really in it, and we all, like so we go over to their house and, like, there's meltdowns happening, or they come to my house and there's meltdowns happening, and it's like, well, like, that's just how it goes, like, we just kind of roll with it, or, like, we plan to stay for 2 hours and we stay for 30 minutes, like, that's just reality of it. But it doesn't, like, look super glamorous, Like, it doesn't look like that ideal, like, way that you had it in the past, I guess. I don't know. It's
Yeah, and
interesting.
maybe that's like some of it is just like mourning what you had. There was like the when you're both single, like your life looks
Yeah.
different, then one person has kids. I don't know. I'm gonna put an ad out. EFF wanted. I have a checklist of
Okay,
things that you need
actually,
to meet.
no, this is so I don't know if you know this, but, my sister-in-law just told me this, that Bumble, the dating app, Bumble, there's a
Uh-huh.
Bumble BFF. So you can,
Well,
like,
I there was what's the
actually
one?
go and find
Peanut?
friends.
Have you seen Peanut?
No, what's that?
So it's another one, like, it's a mom friend app. I kind of actually like, I said that as a joke, but I forgot about it. But I have a friend back in Colorado, we worked together, and she was a mom, and I wasn't at the time, and, she did Peanut, and she wanted a friend like, she, like, had requirements. She was like, they have to be into, like, I think it was WWE, like, she and her husband, which is, like, really funny. If you knew her, you would, like, never guess that they were into WWE. I think it was that. But it was some sort of, like, fighting, like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
great.
Anyway, but it was, like, one of her things, and she would go on these mom dates, and she'd be like, "I didn't like the way that" she would tell me about it, she'd be like, "I didn't like the way they talk to their kids," because she's a
Oh my
therapist too, so she also is like, "I can't believe they'd let their kids do" I mean, this is bad. I mean, I
No,
was, like, hilarious. I loved hearing all about these moms.
I mean, I kind of love that because, like, again, we've lived here almost a year. We're like, just trying to establish like some old friendships, but also meet new people. And like, there are days that I'm like, I just want to meet somebody at the park or like go to the zoo or, do whatever. And I don't like, yeah, maybe I'll send a text out to someone or like they have something going on or, whatever, like just different things come up. But I'm like, where can I find these people? Like, I
Okay,
see
but it
them once
really
I get
does feel
there.
like dating.
It does. It really
'Cause, like,
does.
you see someone at the park, you're like, "They're so cool, like, I wanna be
I
friends with
know.
them." And then, like, maybe you exchange numbers, I'm like, "They haven't called me yet." Like, is it too soon? Can I text them? I don't know. I don't know. The best
This
part
is
about
so
being
funny.
married Greg says this all the time. He said, "The best part about being married is that I don't have to date."
It's so true, though. It's so true. Oh, man. Well, whoever, everybody out there, I'm sure if you're not experiencing this right now, you have at some point, or you will if you relocate, or if your kids grow up and like then you're trying to find like friends who have kids that just different things. Like there's so many things in life that happen that kind of like shake up our communities. Um and yeah, it's very relatable.
Yeah, I will say to, like, offer some advice since we've just been talking about yeah, you could try the apps, man, do it, please. Maybe I will, I don't know if I'm brave enough. Um, but I do think, like, the first step is, like, being the person that says hello. Like, for so long like, I even remember, like, sometimes we wanna think, like, rosy retrospect, like, remember that time before kids and I had friends and we did all the things, like, there were also times before I had kids where I was really lonely. You know? And I remember, like, being given the advice, like, if you're just sitting around waiting for someone to call you, then, like, you're doing something wrong. Like, pick up the phone and call them yourself. Like, even if it's the friend you just met, like, if you sit next to someone at the coffee shop and they're reading a book and you think that's interesting, like, say hi. And then you know what? Do it, like, a step further and be like, I actually do this at climbing. I'm, like, the most awkward person. If you guys have ever seen me at the climbing gym in Louisville, I will go up to people. I, like, help host a women's, like, meetup. I will go up to people and be like, "Are you alone?" Which is, like, the creepiest thing, don't do that. And then I'm like And they'll be like, yeah," or sometimes they're like, "No, like, my friend's over there," and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, well, I know that's really weird, but I was just saying it because we have a women's group, and if you'd like some people to climb with on Tuesdays, you should go."
That's
But I
awesome.
can't tell you how many times that has been effective.
Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, yeah, just like striking up little conversations. And I actually think having kids like at a park or like somewhere where you're already like talking to your kids or like you're talking to someone, it's all you've kind of like broken the ice already, or like you can have your child like introduce himself to this little kid and then like you start talking to their mom. Like there are ways that you can like break the ice in those like more public settings and just like get in the practice of it. I think that's a good thing of just, like, be the one who smiles and says hi first. I think that's good.
Yeah, like and, like yeah, like, "Hey, would you wanna meet here at the park next week? Like, same
Yeah,
time?" I mean, someone has to do it, like,
yeah. I'll probably be
you
late,
know
but I'll come eventually.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I think, like and I think the other thing, and this is something that honestly I'm still, like, learning and the hard way, is that, like, sometimes life is messy and relationships don't end well, and, like, that goes for friendships, like, that's not just romantic relationships, like, that goes for friendships too, and it can be really hard to want to, like, pick up and be vulnerable again and, like, open yourself back up to that, but I can tell you from experience that it's worth it. Like, it's important, it is worth it, and I'm not saying you need to, like, bare your whole soul to someone, like, it's okay to have people that, only know parts of you, but, like, that's something, and that's better than nothing.
Yeah, for sure, and, you had said this too, but even if you're in a place right now where maybe you're not feeling super lonely right now, like, maybe you do have your group of people or your one person or whatever, still keep your eyes open for the people who may be lonely, may not have someone, and just bring them in. Invite like, just like you do at climbing, like, invite them in, and the worst thing that they can say is no, and then you move on. So, it's not gonna hurt you.
Yeah, it's true, it's easy to be, like, riding the high and, like, not looking at anybody else. So, like, if that's you, if you're, like, riding the high, you've got your ride or die or you've got your group or, like, whatever, like, yeah, like, look right and left, you
Yeah,
know?
and I think
For sure.
it really is being a mom can be really lonely. I've seen people talk about that online, I've experienced it myself, I've heard my friends say it, that being a mom can be isolating and lonely for a multitude of reasons. Um, and then being a foster mom or an adoptive mom can be a whole other level. And so, yeah, just keep your eyes open for other people too. It's a good reminder for myself.
Yeah. Well, you guys, thanks for joining us for another episode. It's so great to have this online community. We love hearing from you. So please feel free to like send us a DM, tell us your success stories or your horror stories on these mom friend apps, because I would love to hear them. And if anything we said today made you laugh, cry, or feel seen, please share this with a friend. And we will see you guys again next week.